Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. Saturday is the 23rd of March, National Chia Day, National Chips and Dip Day, Near Miss Day, Melba Toast Day. All of those things happening on the 23rd. On the 24th, Sunday, National Chocolate Covered Raisin Day. So,
alrighty.
That's what's happening over the weekend. I've got a special guest to join me today as well. Going to visit with America's Money Answers man, Jordan Goodman. I'm excited to chat with him. I think we're going to talk about credit card debt, I believe. If my memory serves correct, I think that's what we were going to chat about today. I guess we'll find out because we'll be chatting with him before you know it. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Hope you're having a great weekend.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Time now for surveys and studies and such, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A study by Cornell University found that high-performing robots demoralize their human coworkers.
Nice.
So if you happen to work with a robot that's working really hard and doing a really good job, and you as a human are lagging behind, according to this survey, that's normal. And you shouldn't feel bad that you feel bad. But apparently it makes you feel bad. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I don't know that any of that makes sense. I've got a link to the story if you want to read all about it. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
And this is your brain on drugs, brought to you by timeforrehab.com. A Pennsylvania man named Sober was arrested for
Public intoxication.
Yeah. 44-year-old Daniel Sober was busted for drunk driving.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bad plan. Breath test, cops say Mr. Sober's blood alcohol content, 0.194, which is more than twice the legal limit.
That's
Sober
unfortunate.
was charged with drunk driving and careless driving, according to court records. After being booked, Mr. Sober was released on his own recognizance. The next day he appears, or it's the next schedule. What? Anyway, he's scheduled to be in court. That sentence is written funny. Either that or I'm just reading it funny. I think that they put his name in that sentence way more times than normal just because his name was Sober and he was drunk. I think that's kind of interesting. That is today's Brain on Drugs. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Have you ever heard of Vanderpump Rules? You know what that is?
No.
I don't either. I have no clue. But the star of Vanderpump Rules, Lala Kent, revealed on Instagram that she is an alcoholic.
So is it a TV show? It must be a TV thing?
Apparently, it says she's officially checked into Alcoholics Anonymous. I've got a link to a couple of stories about that. And the first trailer for Toy Story 4 is out. Have you seen this yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't seen the trailer. No, I knew it was coming, but
We'll watch it here during the break. But it's pretty cute. Tim Allen told me that it's the best Toy Story yet.
Tim Allen told you.
Yeah, through Instagram, but he told me that.
Nice.
It sounded really impressive when I said that Tim Allen told me that.
It did.
But he told everybody that follows him on Instagram. We're going to watch that trailer now, and I've got a link to it if you want to see it. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Here's a fun trip back to the 80s.
Surely you can't be serious.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert May 3rd and 4th. Hang out with other 80s fans.
International language of love.
Meet several 80s icons from the movies and rock out to awesome music from the 80s. Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Mr. Scandal with Patti Smythe, Thomas Dolby, Pretty Poison, and more. See the full list of bands and icons at radiotravelgroup.com. That's radiotravelgroup.com.
Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A video has gone viral of an escaped cow running in the streets of Noblesville, Indiana. It is unclear how the cow got out. This is not the only story of cows on the loose. There's another one here. I don't know if I have it here today or if it's going to be later, but I was just looking through and I remember seeing it. Another story here about a Florida man who attempted to rob a jewelry store, only get pummeled by the owner and the owner's wife. So he came in to rob the store, and they're like, no, this is our livelihood. And then they beat the snot out of him.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, well, be careful out there. If somebody robs you, trust me, it's better to just hand things over. A lot of the time you're insured for that kind of thing. But if they kill you, that's not good. So just be really careful before you try to be a hero. And a scientist in London believes that DNA tests have linked Jack the Ripper to a Polish barber named Aaron Kominski. Jack the Ripper terrorized the streets of London in the 1880s. By the way, when we read this, my son said...
Old news.
Yeah, it's funny because I said, oh, hey, Troy, did you know they know who Jack the Ripper is? He goes, yeah, Polish barber, Aaron Kominski. They've known that for years. I'm like, they have? He's like, yeah, for some reason it's like a big revelation on the internet this week. So
our son pretty much knows everything about everything.
How does he know so much?
I don't know.
It's actually kind of unnerving because I'll mention something to him and then he
and then he'll go into full detail about
and he'll instantly fact check and correct me. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry for getting all that wrong. I don't know if you know this, but Caitlyn Jenner turned heads at a Starbucks in Greece after she stopped for coffee. That's the end of the story.
Okay.
So she turned heads, Heidi.
Well, there we go.
Turned heads. Speaking of coffee, BK, you know who that is?
Burger King.
Yes, Burger King. They are the king of burgers. And now they may be the king of coffee. They have a coffee subscription that gives customers 1 cup a day for $5 a month. That's an interesting idea. So you pay for a subscription. I don't know how it works. If it's a punch card, if it's a card you swipe, if you just show them a stamp, if you use a secret password, the password is Coffee King. I don't know. I don't know what you do. Somehow you let them know that you've got this, you're in the club. I don't get it. It's an interesting concept.
Every day of the week, if you want?
It says $5 for a month, and it was 1 cup of coffee per day for a month. So I don't know. I've got a link to the story if you want to click.
I suppose they know they're not losing anything there. You're going to come through the drive-thru, you're going to get your coffee, and you're going to get a sandwich or something.
6 of your burritos.
Coffee costs them 0.02 cents, and they are selling you something else.
What is the other thing that I like? A croissant. That's what, I don't know. Is that what it's called? For a sandwich?
I don't know.
I'm going to move on. Scientists are now saying that 2 completely different realities exist in quantum physics. I don't even know what that sentence means, so I'm going to just take their word for it. This is actually quite unnerving. Kale. If I mention to talk about, healthy foods, almost anybody that you mention that to,
you should eat kale.
Yeah. Have you ever tried this stuff?
It's horrible.
Well, guess what? It's now considered one of the most pesticide-contaminated vegetables on the planet ever in the history of the world, and then some. I don't know. I just added all that extra stuff. But they're saying it's pesticide-contaminated. So be careful out there, kale munchers. And our final story. A video has gone viral of a group of bikini-clad women having a fist fight in the street during spring break in Miami. And yes, I have a link to the video if you want to see it. I have not watched it, so I don't really care. It's not my kind of thing. But I do think we need to go back up here and check out this story about the jewelry store getting robbed. I want to see the guy get the jewelry wife and owner beat the snot out of the robber.
I would love to see that video. That's one I would watch.
We're going to check that out. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on this beautiful weekend.
Do you have IRS tax problems? Are they keeping you up at night, afraid to open your own mail or even answer your telephone? If your tax problems are affecting your family life, you need to know you have options. You have rights, and we'll make sure you get them. Call and speak with Mike Habib, the tax expert who will handle your case at 877-78-TAXES or online at myrstaxrelief.com. That's 877-78-TAXES or myrstaxrelief.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Time right now to visit with a friend of ours that we talk to about once a month. We reach out and talk to Jordan Goodman. He is America's Money Answers Man, and you'll see him on television quite often talking about financial things, and we get to visit with him at least once a month or so right here. Jordan, how are you doing, sir?
Great to be with you again, John.
I'm always excited to chat with you. You've written several books on the subject, and there are a lot of people out there that have issues when it comes to finances and financial things. They don't necessarily know where to turn. So I love the fact that you take a call from us once a month so we can kind of get some advice. And this month we're going to chat a little bit about credit card debt. A lot of people have issues with that, don't they?
That's right. That's right. The numbers just came out from the Federal Reserve. And in the latest month, overall consumer debt is up at a 5% annual rate. Credit cards are up at a 3% annual rate. But that means that we currently owe $1,400,000,000,000 in credit card debt, a record high.
That's a lot. That's a whole bunch.
And then non-credit card debt, which would include student loans, medical debt, car loans, home equity loans, things like that, that's up to $2.9 trillion. So the two combined is just about $4 trillion. And that's not counting mortgages, John. That's just non-mortgage debt. Mortgage is about $13 trillion, something like that.
We don't all owe that much, but each one of us owe quite a bit, don't we?
Well, the average credit card balance, I think, is about $9,700 for people who revolve. And about 40% of the people don't pay off their credit card bills in full every month, and they are therefore paying interest rates of 18 or 25 or just some ridiculously high interest rate, which is non-deductible as well, by the way. So it really can get people behind. And once you get on that treadmill, it's kind of hard to get off in many cases.
Now, you've got some advice that might be able to help folks get in a little better situation, though, don't you?
That's right. That's right. If you've got decent credit, even if you don't have decent credit, you can get much lower interest credit cards. Here's a free website to get the best deals, guide2creditcard.com. And all the best deals are there, and they're constantly being changed. These credit card companies are very competitive with each other. Now, sometimes they'll offer cash rebates, 5 or 6% back on whatever you spend. Sometimes it's frequent flyer miles. If there's a particular airline you like to use, you can pile up frequent flyer miles on that. Hotel points, if you want to stay at a particular hotel. Disney points, Amazon points, you name it. There's just a gazillion different rewards out there. And you have to go get it, John. You just wait for whatever shows up in the mail. Those are the worst deals. Okay, so a small amount of effort at a free website like this, guide2creditcard.com, pays off. What I like to say is concentrate your spending on, say, 2 or 3 cards that give you the reward that's best for you, and then you'll get to use the rewards. You know, if you have 10 different cards and you spread your spending over all of them, you never get to use the rewards because they don't add up to anything. So concentrate your spending on what's best for you. And even if you don't have great credit, you can still get what's called a secured credit card, which means you put up a certain dollar amount, like, say, $1,000. They'll give you a $1,000 credit line, and then you use it responsibly, pay it back in a good way, and after, say, a year, you can graduate from a secured card to an unsecured card. It's kind of a way of reestablishing credit. There's a list of those secured cards as well at that guide2creditcard.com.
Very, very nice. And that's a way, if you've dug yourself into a bit of a hole, it's a way to hopefully start digging your way back out at least.
Yeah, and you need credit today. I mean, you can't take an airline flight without having a credit card or rent a car. Just lots of things that you really can't operate with cash these days. And you need to build up credit over time slowly. Okay, it's not instant, and then you want to go buy a car or something. You've got to have established credit habits over a long period of time. Even if you're in college, get your first card, use it responsibly, and then once you get out, when you get your first job, you kind of can grow with it that way. A lot of people think establishing credit is instant. It's not, okay? What can be instant, John, is mistakes making your credit score plunge. It takes a long time and lots of activity to build up a good credit score, and a short time and one bad move, and your credit score can plunge 50 points or more. So you really have to stay on top of it and monitor it. See what's happening all the time, because if there are errors on there, you get hit by ID theft, your score can go down even though you didn't do anything wrong.
Absolutely. Now, you've literally written the book on this subject. Let's talk about one of your books. What would be a good book when we talk about credit card debt that folks could maybe find and use to help themselves out as well?
So the book I did on this is called Master Your Debt. And they can get that at master-yourdebt.com or at my website, moneyanswers.com. And I go through everything you need to establish and improve your credit score, get the best credit cards out there. This is a wonderful period where there's so many cards out there that are offering all kinds of great deals. You just got to kind of go after them. Most people just kind of accept whatever shows up in the mail, which is the worst deal. So a little bit of effort pays off in a big way in the kind of credit card you can get.
We've got a link to the website he talked about. We got a link to his book and a link to his website, all in our show notes as well. Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time to visit, sir. It's always a pleasure to talk.
Always glad to help, John. Thanks so much.
Again, Jordan Goodman, he is America's Money Answers man, and his website, moneyanswers.com. Again, I've got a link to that and all of the other stuff we talked about in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. Bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Humans have a sixth sense and maybe even a dozen more. We know the five senses. You know what they are? Say them with me here. They're touch and taste and smell and sight and hearing. But humans also sell themselves short when they talk about only five senses. In fact, your neuroscientists have identified a number of other senses that are fundamental to our interactions in the world. For example, chronoception. It's our sense that time is passing. How about thermoception? It's our sense of a space's temperature, whether it's too hot or too cold. Altogether, some experts say humans have up to 33 senses. So there you go. It's way more than five. Mm-hmm. Or that Haley Joel Osment that has a sixth, according to a movie I watched once. By the way, if you haven't seen it, Bruce Willis is dead. Oh,
John!
Did I ruin the movie for you?
Spoiler alert!
It's your fault for not watching it for 13 years. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Here's a fun trip back to the 80s.
Surely you can't be serious.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert May 3rd and 4th. Hang out with other 80s fans.
International language of love.
Meet several 80s icons from the movies and rock out to awesome music from the 80s. Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Mr. Scandal with Patty Smythe, Thomas Dolby, Pretty Poison, and more. See the full list of bands and icons at radiotravelgroup.com. That's radiotravelgroup.com.
Now, fear this. Time for fun with phobias. By the way, I got to just apologize here. If you hadn't seen The Sixth Sense, you've been waiting, and I just ruined that for you. I really feel bad about that now. Oh, I was just being silly.
There's a movie I don't have to watch now.
Well, been saving that one on Redbox for a while here, or whatever you use. All right, here's your fun with phobias. Genophobia. Geno phobia. We've actually said this one before.
And I don't remember what
Fear
it was.
Of sex.
Oh.
Yeah, so genophobia. That's not a fun one. Fun? Not so much with phobias.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the Weird Gift of the Day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, and they've got a lot of interesting things on there for April Fool's Day, which is coming up here before you know it. A Milwaukee man now charged after altering the prices of items at a Pick and Save in Racine County, Wisconsin. 36-year-old Kelly Fabian faced with 2 counts of retail theft after price and misdemeanor bail jumping. Is altering price and misdemeanor bail jumping. Is all
so he was changing the prices on it and then buying the item after he changed the price?
So it goes back to August of 2018. Surveillance shows this man taking 4 cases of Monster energy drinks. They were priced at $17.99 a case. He took them to the self-checkout, and he scanned 3 Kool-Aid packets for $1.05.
Oh.
Then he used his Fresh Perks card and then left the store without paying for the energy drinks. The suspect then allegedly did the same thing at different locations, doing exactly the same, and they identified him based on an earlier case from 2016. His last known address matched the address with the Fresh Perks card that he used, and he was taken into custody. So he was ripping the place off and then giving them his identity all at the same time. So probably not the smartest thing you've ever done, but I don't know. Maybe it is. It's today's Weird News. Now, your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. A New Zealand man has claimed an adverse reaction to coffee is what forced him to vomit all over a movie theater. And then,
yikes.
And it wasn't all. Then he headbutted a staff member. And then he resisted arrest when the police got there.
Yeah, I don't think you can blame that on coffee.
43-year-old Bruce Ellery Royal pled guilty. He said there was common assault and resisting police. He pled guilty to that. But he says, I'm not usually a coffee drinker. He went into the cinema.
Dude.
And he finished 5 cups of black coffee in a short period of time. That's probably, even for a coffee drinker, a bit much.
But that doesn't cause those kinds of things.
That's when he got sick and vomited in the foyer.
Now, vomiting I could see. Okay, so it made him sick, whatever. But that wouldn't cause him to headbutt somebody and fight off the police.
Well, it says here, after he got sick, he was helping the staff clean things up. And he was walking towards the counter, pushing a staff member out of the way before making his way behind the counter, and then chugged 4 bottles of water. They were $4 a piece, by the way.
Whoa!
Apparently his caffeine-fueled behavior then escalated. That's when he started drinking from these bottles and then squirting members of the public with the water. And then he got aggressive towards other people, headbutted an employee in the face. It turned into a big commotion here. And ended up getting himself arrested. So it took 3 officers to handcuff.
You should probably
this
lay
guy.
off the coffee.
Yeah, 3 officers to handcuff this coffee.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There was something else going on there besides coffee.
It was all in the coffee. I don't know. This is what happens.
Unless that coffee was spiked with something that...
no, he just doesn't drink coffee typically. But then he had 5 cups, downed them all in a big old hurry. I don't know why. It's today's moment of duh.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. Bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
Now, these 3 things. Heidi, tell me, what do these 3 things have in common?
All right.
A coffee shop, a golf course, a quart.
Cups.
They do. They all have cups. I don't know that I would have gotten that one. Yeah, a coffee shop has cups. A golf course, you put the ball into a cup. And a quart has how many cups, Heidi?
I don't know.
27. I think it's, let's just say
4?
6-ish. Oh, no.
Let's stop now.
Yeah, we'll move
I was
on.
feeling smart.
A+ for that, D- for this. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of radiotravelgroup.com, and there's going to be a fabulous, fun-filled vacation May 3rd and 4th. Bunch of people from the 80s. It's called 80s in the Desert.
That is going to be a riot.
We're gonna have a blast. Anyway, I've got a link to all of the details and how you get the promo code and all that stuff. It's at radiotravelgroup.com. Now, there's been a lot of devastation with flooding. There's even been loss of life from people because of the flooding. But if there's ever been a silver lining, maybe this could be that. Here's just a fun story. Is, very rare that you get a fun story out of the devastation. But this is a fun story. After an exhausting day of hard work, 2 friends find a refrigerator full of cold beer in the middle of a field.
Oh.
And this was in the flood areas. in the Missouri River Valley in Nebraska.
Were they old enough to drink it?
Yeah. So these two guys were out working, and they found what they call a pot of liquid gold in the middle of a field. Kyle Simpson's crop of land in Lincoln, Nebraska, is just one of the properties that was affected by this flood that happened. And he and a friend were there working, and they found this little refrigerator. It's like a dorm refrigerator size thing. And it was about 50 feet between him and the refrigerator when he was trying to figure out what in the world is that over there. And they get over and find out, oh, it's a beer fridge. And they open it, and it's full of beer.
Okay.
And so these guys are out in this field.
Was there a note that says, "Hey, thanks for help"? They just took somebody else's beer?
It was a refrigerator that was in the flood, and it floated away.
Oh.
This whole area was covered
I thought
with
maybe
water.
somebody put it out there for workers. Like, hey, thanks for helping out. Here's a beer.
No, this was his land. He was walking around on his
Okay.
land, and all of a sudden they come across this refrigerator. They're like, what is this?
This is how you know God loves you.
Oh, yeah. I think this is a cool story. Like I said, a lot of sad things that came from the flooding, but if there's one way to at least look at it and say something positive, and there's photos and video and stuff of this refrigerator that they found, I think it's just a neat story. All of the details in the show
Meanwhile,
notes.
somebody's reading this article online.
Hey, fridge. They probably will. I've got a link to it if you think it's yours. Hey, I'm missing a fridge like that upstream from you. I've got a link to it in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for listening.